Hello, this is Naomi Smalls, and welcome back to From Head to Toe. Today we're going to be recapping RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 9, episode 8. Who ate? Let's go. Up first, we have Miss Queen of Drag, RuPaul. Ruth Paul Charles is in a ash blonde wig this week. I feel like this is a new shade of blonde for this season. I feel like she looks like a solar system in a way, or like the eclipse. Like the bottom of this skirt is giving me, I'm like hypnotized by the center of the bottom of it. And I really think that this like fabric is gorgeous. It really works for the bottom half of the outfit. I feel like the whole like one shoulder moment up top with the empire waist is a little bulky. It kind of reminds me actually of Angeria's painted look that she made a couple weeks ago. Like that top moment, and I think I said it even back then. It's like a little older, like a little more matronly of a cut. I think it's kind of just a shame because this fabric is so cool on the bottom and some sort of like incorporating of, I don't think it had to be this bulkiness on top as it is on the bottom. Rue's skirt is definitely giving like an eclipse, solar, even like the colors that are being used here are very, what I think is happening on like the side of the windows in Space Odyssey. It's giving me that. It's giving me like hyper beam. This is the grayish blondish hair. I think that this like look actually reminds me of one of my favorite RuPaul looks. It's like that silhouette of the pink with like the black leopard that she did early Drag Race days. And there's a photo shoot of her like on the lot, and she's like by a golf cart, and this silhouette is almost something similar to that, but I feel like that was a little bit more like successful just based on like the fabric choices. And here it's just a little bit more like bulky, but this fabric is just so cool that I want to like it so much more. This shade of blonde is a new one that I've seen on Ru this season, at least that I'm at the top of my brain right now. It's definitely like a grayish dimensional blonde. This style does it looks like this style has like some crispy ends, and with synthetic wigs, like there's like that fine line of you almost want the wig to be a little fucked up, because when you get a wig right out of the bag, especially a synthetic wig right out of the bag, it's not doing what you need. You need it to be like run over by your truck or like thrown from the top of a building and stamped on for it to really get that like nice steam set in. I think that if Ru went on a roller coaster in this wig, she would get off the roller coaster still looking the exact same. Like this wig has been through it, and that's a really good thing when you want that like Marilyn bubble style to stay in the hair. I think if I were to do anything different with this look, besides of course the top, I would just put like more of a graphic earring with it. I think this is like kind of a really pretty earring for this look, and I think like something like gold and graphic would have been really pretty with this, or just fuck it and do like a black graphic shape with this look. And I can't see her toes, so I can't tell you what she's wearing from head to toe, but the bitch looks tall. Up next, Jeremy Scott. Jeremy knows exactly where he's going. He knows there's gonna be lighting, he knows there's gonna be fags, he knows there's gonna be drags, so he decided to put on some sparkle and leave his shirt at home, which is very gay man behavior. And there is a fresh haircut on Jeremy. Honestly, Jeremy being here does make sense for a design challenge. So I love when the guest judge actually makes sense with what's happening on the runway. Is that enough?
Yeah.
All right, and we have the cast of All Stars 9 doing looks inspired by RuPaul songs. The category on the runway this week is Make Your Own Kind of Rusic. Up first, PLASTIQUE TIARA doing Star Baby. I mean, this is so good. Like, immediately, this is so good. There's so many different like blues in here that is so like pleasing to the eye. There's blue in the shadow. There's like so many different blues happening in the gown, and coming out with this like I don't even know how this reveal was like timed out well, because doing like a what 5-point star into like a some sort of like cocoon type of reveal, she must have like thrown her like arms back so fast to make this happen, but it looks like so smooth and effortless on the runway. It was a perfect reveal at the top of the runway, and then just like let the judges like gag on you the entire way down and get into like every single detail, and framing everything with black is so smart because it just like helps, really just helps the eye focus on like all the line work that is happening with the stars and the crystal trim. And I love that she has like the Kylie Jenner Mugler type crown that she's wearing. I also love on Plastique's like whole presentation, such a nice detail, and even though it's like asymmetric, it really just like makes everything look so finished. That she has like the high glove with like the star trim, just looks, that's such a nice detail in this whole big picture of not just putting some whatever glove on top of this look, but actually incorporating it into the look and making everything just look even more custom. Plastique just looks insane. I keep saying insane, which is not necessarily like what I would probably ever call her. It's normally, you know, stunning, pristine, pretty, polished moment, but like it's insane that Plastique is just not only coming to RuPaul's Drag Race like so prepared, but able to make the same caliber of costumes herself there and really pushing herself to do that. And I'm so proud of Plastique. This look is just insanity. It's beautiful, stunning. She's a star baby, and she knows it. Everyone else in the room knows it. And am I about to spoil my favorite of the week already? Up next, Gorgeous. Gorgeous is serving I Bring the Beat. I love this track. Actually, this is Alyssa Edwards season. I just remember her like punching it down to this track. So once I heard that Gorgeous was gonna get this, I just knew that she was going to deliver on the runway, and that she did. I love Gorgeous with these like pigtails that have like the cobalt extensions in it that ties in with her lime green, bluish moment. And this is a very like safe look for Gorgeous, I would say. Like she wasn't gonna take any big swings this week trying to compete with Plastique and ROXXXY and Mick, but they look really good for them, and their delivery on the runway for this song is definitely taking me, she came here from outer space, a planet called 808, something gravity of funk, where the robots something gravitate. She's not dressed like an alien, but it is giving me like Xenon. It is giving me like how I would think Gorgeous is gonna dress up as a space cadet. And I love her ability to do all this in a platform heel. It's very impressive. Up next is GOTTMIK, and GOTTMIK is serving new friends silver, old friends gold. I think a lot of drag queens would want to be gravitated towards this material just because you don't have to do a lot of embellishing. You don't have to do, you can kind of rely on sparkle in a lot of ways when it comes to drag. Like if you are sparkling on stage, it's kind of like 60% of the work, to be honest. Like your eye, whenever you see sparkles on stage and you're standing next to somebody matte, is always going to just like gravitate towards this. I do love that Mick, instead of just creating a silhouette that like a top out of sequin and a skirt out of sequin, she like put that extra effort in of like mixing the metals and like braiding them together, and a lot of work looks like it went into this. I do feel like this effect added unnecessary weight to GOTTMIK's silhouette. I don't know if it was like padded or filled or stuffed with anything, but the braids definitely, like, I feel like her tube dress silhouette like is really boxy, and then like she's so skinny that like everything else was just kind of like so skinny. Like this just looks kind of like puffy. And I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just know that Mick is after that like look, and I feel like it just kind of like boxed her out a little bit here. But a lot of work went into this, and she didn't have to do this because there's no way she was gonna win this week, right? She was chopped. So she could have won, but she couldn't have won a star. So maybe she was like, fuck it. But I do feel like she actually was not like, fuck it. She put a lot of work into this. It just wasn't necessarily enough to catch up with like Plastique. I guess she's on a Plastique. We're just on a curve now. Plastique is that like annoying kid in your class that's like, what can we do for extra credit? Do we have homework? Like, Plastique is so annoying when it comes to competing with her. So, up next, Chanel. Chanel is the queen of Christmas, and she lucked out and got Hey Sis, It's Fleecemas, or Christmas. I just can't stop, like, whenever I hear that song, I just get the Old Navy commercial in my mind. Hey sis, it's Fleecemas. God, us drag girls, even the queen of drag, will do anything when it's a gig. Fleece not be done. Chanel, I wish that Chanel came out. Like when I think of Chanel, of course I think of Christmas, and she's gonna tell you that she is the queen of Christmas. I think that this is a very safe, flirty, cutesy bootsy look. When Chanel is like week after week saying like, bitch, I want a badge so bad. And I feel like cutesy bootsy is not necessarily the way to go when you really want a badge. Like I wanted Chanel to be like Christine Baranski in the Grinch level drag, like serve us Miss Whoville, Queen, Princess Supreme herself, and that level of drama. I know the fabrics are not necessarily the most ideal, but like that level of like impressiveness and fierceness, and like take it there with Whoville, like maybe prosthetic, or you know, some sort of like something to not just have it be like, oh, I'm a pretty drag queen dressed up as a Christmas themed look. Really like tell a story and a concept. And I just think that this is a very like, I'm going to the holiday party and I'm a drag queen type of look, not like super special. Up next, Roxxxy Andrews serving Cowboy Carter. She's actually serving Lady Cowboy. I don't know how Miss Beyonce recreation herself is ahead of Beyonce, because I think that this was filmed before Cowboy Carter, but that's just what we call fate. Roxxxy Andrews came to play this runway. She wanted a win, and she put so much detail into this look. She has a jacket, she has a leotard moment, she has stonework on it, she has chaps with the crystal trim, she has a piece of straw in her mouth. She is going to like hit you with the cowboy vibes. And I mean, I love this. I feel like Roxxxy needed to show the other girls that if there's a sewing challenge, she's gonna give Ru what she likes. My favorite detail about this is like on the top. I mean, there's so many details with like the Lady Cowboy stoning and the RuPaul stoning, and I think that's cute for Drag Race, but I think that was a cool design detail in this is like the collared shirt out of the red bandana with the stretched denim. That's like not something that I would necessarily think of when it's putting all those fabrics together, but I think it was like really effective here. And I think that Roxxxy just, her ass, it's all about her ass. Like if you have that ass and you're shaking it and there's crystal fringe, like all the work is already done. She looks gorgeous. And yeah, Cowboy Carter, the house down boots. Up next, VANESSA, Vanjie, Mateo, giving us Kitty Girl. It blows me away that Vanjie is not wearing anything feline related for this, just to like really, you know, I think on Drag Race they just like the obvious shit. They don't want to think too hard about anything. I would have just maybe gone with like a cat suit, or even just plop some ears in my wig to like have it be somewhat, or like kind of like the Doja Cat, like at the Karl Lagerfeld met with like, you know, this the snood with the ears or something to have it be a little bit more feline. But this is so Vanjie, this look, and Kitty Girl is like a boppy song that Vanjie is. I'm trying to I'm real, because you know Vanjie, I love Vanjie, so I'm trying to connect the two. She loves all the belts. She loves a high boot. She loves a Scoochie dress. She loves a bouncy wig, and she loves to deliver like she's just like pouncing down the run. Not pounce. She's not pouncing. She's bouncing. That bitch is bouncing. The bubble of the wig is bouncing. I'm curious about the jacket that Vanjie's wearing, if she made it or if it's just supposed to be like a scarf or a stole, another version of a stole, because it comes off obviously, but if she made this jacket, that's very cool. I actually love the whole outfit, like for Vanjie, just because it makes sense for Vanjie. I could totally see her like wearing this as like a opening or closing look on Work the World. Someone lied to her, because I do this when I'm getting ready sometimes. There's some wigs that you put on and you have to like, is my forehead in the right spot? Is the hairline in the right spot? Is this too far back? Is this too low? Does it make sense with my makeup? I don't know who she gets ready next to. I think it was Mick. Mick lied to you. That your forehead is very big this runway, and not like in an ugly way, just in a very like loud S&M anti, what's another Rihanna album? But the hair color with the forehead size is giving very Miss Fenty herself. And yeah, I mean, Vanjie looks great, but Vanjie is always going to be stunning no matter how big that forehead is. Up next, Nina West. And Nina West was stuck with Cha Cha Bitch. Nina West is giving a color story that I do like. I do love black and red. This song, Cha Cha Bitch, just brings back the craziest memories of season 8. It's definitely like tattooed and scarred in Kim and I's brain because we did not enjoy having to dance to this song. Nothing against RuPaul, nothing against AB Soto, but like when you're on a cast with like Naysha Lopez and Cynthia Lee Fontaine, doing Cha Cha Bitch was just like silly. And speaking of silly, Nina West. She does look sexy for Nina West. I mean, she has her cleavage exposed. That's a factor. She is in a floor-length gown with a corset on top of it, which is in the world of drag. That's very like 2015. This gives me Ladybug. It doesn't necessarily give me like sexy Latina cha-cha girly, but I guess that's maybe hard for Ohio Disney charity queen kind to tap into. I do enjoy seeing Nina West in this height of hair, and it's hard to be this pale and pull off black hair. But maybe because I've seen now Nina with like the Mick runway, like when they were all the makeovers, I'm like softened into seeing her in such dark hair. But yeah, this look I don't love. I think this is the best that Nina West could do with this category. I don't necessarily think that she has a huge reference to pull from, besides possibly like Encanto or Coco. Unfortunately, this is giving more like the dude Ladybug in Bug's Life, if I'm gonna break it down in Disney terms. Up next, Angeria. Angeria is giving us cake and candy. I think that the rhinestone material chappy look is very well made. It's like clinging to her pads. It's a stretchy material, so like she did a good job tailoring it to her, especially for this being the first time she made a jumpsuit with chaps. I think that if there was an edit I had for the costume, the only thing I would really change is the leg of it, like kind of just cuts at her ankle, and because it's a chap and because it's like skin tight, and there's like a little bit more full coverage happening on the top. I just wish that not necessarily it doesn't need to go to like a full coverage like stocking moment on the bottom, but just like I have an issue, and it's a personal issue, but because this is from Head to Toe by Naomi Smalls, I'm going to tell you my personal little hacks. Whenever it like cuts at the ankle, I just want to like connect that eye instead of having it cut, because it just makes you look like a little shorter. It just makes you look a little shorter when you cut at the ankle. I feel like just like extending that line, even if it's going to be like a stirrup around like the bottom of like your foot, it just helps like give you height. And I don't think Angeria is some tiny little bitch, but in the world of drag, and I'm speaking from a place of privilege, I just want to look tall and elongated and like a glamazon, and that's just a small little hack to help that extra 4 inches. This wig, we gotta stop with these wigs. We gotta stop with these wigs. That's also an issue I have with like the Ru music inspo for this style. Like, what about Cake and Candy says Medusa? If it were me, I probably would have done like some sort of cotton candy, confectious looking afro, like slick back, and like some sort of like just like tease the fuck out baby pink, platinum blonde style. And I feel like that just would have like softened up the look in the right way, because Paul would never be caught dead in this wig. And since this is RuPaul's Drag Race, you kind of want to cater to that. Or maybe I'm just putting my taste on RuPaul, but... Alright, that was all the girls doing the RuPaul inspired looks. And honestly, yes, we're grading on a curve, but it's just obvious. Like, the queen who put the most work and did it so impeccably right and continues to just be that insane diva is Miss Plastique Tiara. This star baby look with all the crystal trim, and I don't even know how she had enough time to create this, work on this, trim it, stone it, make everything just like make sense cohesively, straight lines, no like glue cobwebs all over the look. It just looks insane. Like, Plastique, you did the damn thing. Plastique killed it. ROXXXY killed it. Who else? No one really came close to these girls, and it only makes sense that they are lip syncing against each other this week. All right, that was all the RuPaul's song looks this week on episode 8 of All Stars 9. Tune in next week, and we're gonna get into All Stars 9 episode 9. Oh my god! But if you want the lip sync reaction and the final snipping reaction, you're gonna have to tune into Patreon at patreon.com/NaomiSmalls. I'll see you there.